Hi everyone, it's Bill from Crooked Acres Homestead. Welcome back to the channel. A little over 2 years ago, we purchased this raw 7-acre parcel of land with the dream of building a homestead from scratch and creating a more self-sufficient lifestyle. It took mountains of work, tireless effort, and seemingly endless hours to go from that bare piece of land to what we have today. As we look back to all we have accomplished in that short period of time, we can't help but think about all that we still hope to do. Come along as we take you down our sometimes bumpy road from that bare piece of land of 2 years ago to today. As soon as we closed on the property, the first thing we did was have it brush hogged so we could immediately start planting our orchard. The best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago or today, so we got started on that right away. We planted pear trees and apple trees just to start. Later we added some peach trees. Once we had the trees in the ground, the next thing we did was start turning the soil over so we could take this old, overgrown goldenrod field and turn it into a grassy area around our orchard. What we had, we got Dad to chip in with his 1949 Farmall Cub tractor pulling a single bottom plow. It wasn't the most ideal equipment or most modern, but we had a lot of fun doing it. It took longer than it probably would have with modern equipment, but again, we enjoyed our time out there together. We were able to turn that 1.5 acre orchard area into a nice, lush lawn. Once we had our orchard complete, the next thing we started on was turning the ground for our future garden site.
Once we had the garden plowed, disked, and raked, we could start working on putting up our fence. With the fencing complete, we can now start laying down our weed fabric and start getting plants in the ground. With the garden coming along quite nicely, it was time to turn our attention to getting our driveway installed. We had to cut down the high grass and level quite a few areas. Once the driveway was complete, we could start construction on our pole barn. When the pole barn itself was completed, we still had to bring in a lot of stone to work around the pole barn and inside the pole barn to get it ready for our concrete base. We moved in all the stone, leveled, tampered, and prepared it for the concrete ourselves. All said and told, with the driveway included, we moved just under 100 ton of stone. With the pole barn complete, we were finally able to obtain a house number from the town. It almost felt like we were official at this point.
After years of planning and months of meeting with architects and builders, we finally started on our home build and broke ground Thanksgiving week 2020. The house that we had built is a standard ranch size home, 1,500 square feet with a full basement. The house build continued throughout the winter and into the early spring months. As the crews worked on finishing up the house for a late May move-in, we started turning our attention to what we needed to get done on the outside. We had gardens to enlarge, chicken coops to build, and meat chickens to get ready for. We doubled the size of our garden from 2020 to 21 and began work on our chicken coop and run for our hens. In May, we got the first batch of meat birds to be done on the property, 75 in total. This batch of meat birds provided a little over 400 pounds in fresh, pasture-raised chicken for our family. In the late winter, early spring, we also started our vegetable seeds indoors. By mid-April, we started putting our strawberries in the ground. In mid-July, our first batch of turkeys arrived on the homestead, 8 in total. With the turkeys in the brooder, it was time to get going on the turkey coop. We built it right next to the chicken coop with a shared wall. The garden had also taken off, and we found ourselves picking almost nightly, and canning, and canning, and canning. The last job that we took on this summer was to build a 10 by 12 shed. As we look out today to all we have and all we've accomplished, we can't help but think back just 2 short years to what this property looked like. Thank you for coming along as we showed you our 2-year journey. As always, if you like what we're doing, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave us some comments. Have a great day.